Alright. Let's do this. Let's get this done with. I don't know. I sat here thinking about this for like 3 minutes, and I still don't know if I've got the right answer. But we're gonna try something. I don't know what it's gonna be. So I still kind of want to do this setup, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I do. So this should get everybody here. So if we go, if below you is nothing, step down. Always. And we want if below you is a hole and that is a wall and that is a wall. I think this is what we want. If to the right is nothing, step right. If to the left is nothing, step left. I don't know. Right. I have no idea. I don't know, that didn't feel fast with the people moving back and forth. Ew. Nobody is punished. Nobody has to only step left or right. That seemed kind of fast. I don't know if it was 50 seconds fast. 79, Jesus. Fuck. I want to know if... So this is an if statement. This has to be faster. Why is that so much slower? Here. Do we get any accidental goodbyes? Because I don't think we should. Okay. I'm gonna ask a silly question. I think the number of ifs that we have matters. Like the number of things in an if, I think it matters for time. It has to. This is never going to work. Yeah, somebody said goodbye. And they shouldn't have. Yep. Okay, this isn't gonna work. Okay, I think I can get rid of one of these. So I want to see if this actually has an effect. So we're at 79. I don't think we need one of these. So if a hole is below you, I don't think we need this one. And if the right equals a wall. Because this is the only time a hole is below you and the right is not equal to a wall. So we were at 79 seconds. I have removed one condition on an if statement. It's still 79. Okay. I don't understand why that one took so long. I just don't. I just don't. Okay, so I'm gonna move from this to we're transitioning from one if statement and a memory check to one if statement. I'm pretty sure the way we have this fed, there's always at least one person. Yeah, so we got it. So we should be at like 75 seconds? Why? Okay, so checking your memory is clearly significantly faster than checking spaces around you. That's all I got. Like, clearly. I don't even know, man. Alright. Well, shit. Are we going back to trying to solve it in 9 steps instead of time? This can't be it, can it? Like... Oh, whoops. I was at 105 seconds, so I don't want to do that. I mean, it makes sense that checking your memory would be fast, but it's like 20 seconds. I mean, smoothing up this is our best chance of getting it faster. Alright, yeah, the stuff at the front didn't matter at all. That felt smoother, but it's not at all. Not even the slightest bit. All right. So, how do we actually do this faster? Okay, I think I know what we have to do. I don't want to do it, but... Alright. We basically need to break this into two groups. If... to your left is a wall... if to your right is a hole, that's it. I don't know. I really am trying to figure it out because the middle column just needs to run right down the center. I hate it. I hate it. So the problem is, if we want to make this our key investment point, which I don't think we do, this guy, basically everybody on this row, everybody here could end up screwed. So we don't want this to be it. So how do we do this? How do we make a very generic way? Because we can categorize people around edges, but we can't categorize people in the middle. And we can't... Fuck. There's just so many people that they're actually, like, running into the problems of bumping into each other, basically. So how does one do this quickly? I don't know, a for each fucking direction would be really cool, except you can't step to nothing. That is, by the way, truly the most frustrating thing about this game, is that nothing is not actually a reference. Like, I understand that it. I've already gone over this. I've already gone over this. Um. Stop it. Oh. Well, that might be the answer. Is that actually the answer? Not quite. So we want a steady stream, right? So we want to do something like this, but we do else. Neither of those are a whole. The problem is we can't figure out on which half everybody is, and it's annoying. What this should do right, because everybody's okay, what the God damn it. You don't want to be walking into people. That's the thing. You don't want to be walking into people. Or holes. No, I don't think we want this then. fuck. I don't like any of this. There's too many if statements, and if statements are slow. Like, if statements are just slow. Yeah. Oh, I fucking hate it. Oh, I hate it so much. I want to be stumped for a whole another episode on this one because it's just bad. Like, it's just bad. This program is just bad. Because it's the way that everybody gets hung up. And obviously they put these holes in places specifically designed to be a pain in the ass. So, yeah. It's really annoying. They don't have a lot of the interesting tools that I would like to see that would let you actually do something interesting with this problem. And most of it has to do with that for each direction being hampered by the fact that a space on the ground isn't actually a space on the ground. So, it's kind of just a giant fuck you that doesn't work. If that equals a wall, that'll run all of them in. Like, I can try and do this in such a way that it captures everybody, but I don't think it does it in a way that's beneficial. Like, great, this guy's broken. Fine. Why? Why? If below you doesn't equal nothing, and if I could find a good way to figure out which side everybody was on, this would be cake. Instead, we're either stuck with a whole bunch of if statements, if below you is a hole, and to the right is a wall, step down. Ta-da! I mean, I keep coming back to this. I mean, obviously, I don't know if that's even optimal at this point. Like, trying to tell it to do things with steps as much as possible is clearly the best way to go. But I can only identify so many people in a distinct manner that would go quickly. So it doesn't work. Like, this person, I could identify and have them step down twice. Beautiful. Done. This person, I literally can't do that. This person has no unique features compared to this person. They are all the same. Same with this person, same with this person. This person, 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 that person, that person, that person. That entire chunk of people is completely pointless. So I can go if to the left of you equals a wall and below you is a hole. I want you to step there. Step there. That puts you here, which will further fall into a different category. And then I can go if above you is a hole, which is literally only one person. I can say should go step down, step right, step down. Put them right there and into another category. Or, because we want this guy to go step down, step right, step down. That'll put him in another category. We could make this the designated last person, or this the designated last person. If to your left, the problem is this guy is a problem. If to your left is a hole, one, two, three, four. Step down 4 times. So we've handled these people. Oh no. Honestly, it probably doesn't even matter. Cool, those people are trying to move. So then let's go ahead and write there if below you is a wall, means you're here, here, or here. Your goal is to step down, beautiful. We killed a whole bunch of people. We can also go if below equals wall and to the left of you equals wall. And we can also do this same one here. If below you I'm confused. Fine. We'll prevent whatever crazy thing happened to her. Cool. We've now handled these three and a cluster of people in there. So before this, we can go if to the right equals a hole. Step down. Why? Stop doing that. Step down. Step right. Stop it! I don't know why it's doing that. And that's also gonna feeder people in. Like, at this point, it's just like, I don't know, I've cleaned out some stuff. Clearly. If down equals nothing. We almost got there. Alright. And now for the piece de resistance. If up equals a wall and alright equals a wall. If you are this person. 1, 2, 3. Stop it. We're going to do whatever it takes to make her the last person out. Or, oh, sorry, it's a guy now. Wait, that somehow worked? Yup, fuck it, it worked. We did it, boys and girls. Yay! Now we gotta do this one. We don't care how long it takes. Alright, we always check. Hey, are you the only person? If so, say goodbye. If you're at this hole, step down. What's the biggest thing we need to prevent? Or that's our step down. Trying to think. We kind of want to step left or right. So if that is nothing and that is nothing, the problem is this doesn't work. People get stuck right here or right here. It has to do with the fact that these... So you can't bounce between holes. No. You can't actually pull that off. There's a solution here. Okay, if to the right is a hole or to the right is a wall, step left. Yeah, that's what I thought. Forgot about this. I honestly don't know. If this is true. And I'm kind of making a risk even going for it. I'm missing one. So I think this forces you to always be adjacent to another worker. Damn it! Yes! Took longer. So the reason why that worked... The reason why that worked is because by stepping down like that, we made this flow through here much smoother. Whereas before we're going... Oh, we're here. Step left. Step down. Step right. Step down. Like, it was weird, and it caused that weird separation where this person stepped right, where otherwise people just hugged this wall. So yeah. This is going to be a long episode, but we got achievements, excellent instruction follower, and red optimizer award. I'm going to let this cutscene play.
Look how far we've come.
I cannot believe you made it this far.
I'm glad you're here. There is something I have been meaning to tell you. You see, I am a robot.
In surprise, I am a robot also. We're going to leave now.
But look at you. You really took these totally made-up jobs and worked together to build wonderful solutions.
And also, a family. You really put the meat in teamwork.
Clearly it was a mistake to solve all of the planet's big tough puzzles.
Unlimited food,
Unlimited transportation.
unlimited energy. More like unlimited boring afternoons. Ha ha ha, am I right?
It turns out life just isn't any fun without a really good problem to solve.
A nice tough pickle to crack.
A real brain tickler.
So we have one more puzzle for you. Are you ready?
We have placed a giant bomb at the center of the Earth.
You have 50 years to get off the planet.
Build rockets.
Figure out how to terraform other planets or whatever, because in 50 years.
Boom.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Have fun, everyone. You're going to do great.
The twist is there is no bomb.
They actually did it. Maybe they didn't know I was joking. I have one of those faces. Oh my god. This cocktail is amazing.
Alright. I was hesitant whether or not I wanted to try and call that twist, but I was totally right. Okay. What is there to say about this game? Besides that, it is pretty humorous in its cutscenes, and a lot of its writing also has some good, silly kind of humor in there. Definitely, like, on the weird side as well. Like, I'm not gonna deny that. Like, our dancer robots and the boss lady and boss man and computer are kind of weird. And Pablo. Okay, I was like, do we get Pablo? Yes, we do. Alright, so what do I think about this game? So I think my final... I really should go back and compare this to my final thoughts on Human Resource Machine. Right now, I can't tell if the volume is actually super loud or if it's just my headphones, but I want to show the credits because I think the credits are worth showing. Oh. I appreciate that. So yeah, basically, my feel. Oh, I'll let this play.
Oh wow. It's so big.
I'm wondering if he's talking about the internet. Alright, we got another achievement. Oh, that's right, I forgot. You guys can see the achievements in the way I've got this one set up. So I actually think that's all the achievements. There might be one more. I might go back for it. But either way, I think that the thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this game is specifically the coding challenges. Like, the coding challenges are the issue. Oh, yeah, there's an achievement I don't have. Shrieking Steel Blades, a worker is shredded by a killbot? Is that even a thing? But anyway, I'm gonna get there in a bit. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So basically, don't mind me. The big crux here of the game is that you're solving programming. Oh yeah, we're solving. There we go. That's the last achievement. All right, here we go. So the big thing about this game is that you're solving programming problems. And in the first one, Human Resource Machine, you were solving it as a single person, and in this game you were solving it as multiple people. So the puzzles have definitely taken a step up. And that's also my general gist of remembering Human Resource Machine. I just remember that I enjoyed it. And that's the general gist of this one, is you're going from a less complicated set of puzzles to a more complicated set of puzzles. Honestly, these tack on pretty much right after the other ones. You're solving slightly simpler problems at the start, per usual, that's what you would expect, and then they definitely get harder as you go. Although, honestly, it feels like the last tier was a little bit easier. But I think that might also come from the fact that I understand binary really well. I don't know if that's something that they assume people will or won't know. I don't know who their target audience for this game really is, because it feels like people who already do programming stuff. When it comes to actually solving the problems, I generally didn't have much problem. It was the optimizations that got difficult. And while I basically put a stipulation on myself that I wanted to get all of them, it's not something you really need to do, but that's, I think, my biggest qualm of this entire game is the optimizations. And while it is certainly interesting, the one time that we actually went online, and after we had already gotten the optimizations, we went and got the optimizations. Here, I just want it to be less loud. That's not going to happen. All right, here, we'll just sit here. This is more elevator music anyway, because we're in the elevator. But to get back to what I was saying, the optimization problems are definitely interesting. And when the one time that we went online after already getting our own optimizations and looked at like what was fully optimized, that was interesting. I would personally like to see that built into the game a little bit more. After you get the optimization, after you reach the goal, being able to see that optimization would be really neat. Now, there's two different ways to approach that line of thinking. One is, tell me what it is, and I will try and get there. The other one is, show me what it is, and I will try and beat it. And I think those, unfortunately, those are two kind of contradicting ideas, right? Because if I give you the solution, then trying to match it, or trying to get there, sort of defeats the purpose. But I think it's fairly safe to say that most of the optimal solutions that have been compiled by the really hardcore players of this game are about as optimized as they're going to get. I don't know if it's possible to actually beat most of them, is what I'd go so far as to say. But obviously, looking at some of those threads in the Steam discussions for those, it definitely became clear that, you know, they were being improved upon, but that was also a while ago. So it's hard to say. But honestly, I think when it comes to puzzles, moving to the multi-threaded style of puzzle, as I kind of said, it was the natural step, and it fit well as a sequel. The optimizations personally annoyed me. Obviously, some of them were reasonable, but the optimizations are bad code by lots of standards, and in a puzzle game, it makes sense for it to be done in this sort of way, and I will once again give them kudos for pointing out that a lot of those optimizations are not possible in the same solution. You can't optimize time and commands run, and in fact, most of the time, not only can you not, but they're actually the antithesis of each other, because running in fewer instructions means you are using more generic logic, which means that while you might be able to get both, you probably can't, because that generic logic takes longer to run because it hits cases that you could bypass with more commands that could make it go faster. So that's kind of how that goes. But more than anything else, those optimizations, because they're bad code, make me feel like it depends on their audience. Like if their audience is in fact me, a software developer, then sure, I understand that I'm writing bad code, and I'm okay with that. Like me, the fact that I have to write bad code to reach some of these, yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but I know that's what I'm doing. I know that I'm writing the bad code, and I can accept that because I'm trying to get an achievement and I'm trying to meet a challenge. But for people who are not coders or not terribly fluent coders, or who haven't worked on real coding projects, they see these optimizations and they think that they're important. And this is also speculation on my part, but I feel like that's what the game is incentivizing, is for you to be able to make those optimizations. So they seem like they're important. Like writing fewer instructions seems very important. Making it go fast seems really important. And while a long time ago, those things were certainly important, when you didn't have very much RAM, the number of instructions you had being smaller was very helpful, because that means you don't have to page through as much RAM. And things running faster meant that the processors that couldn't necessarily handle everything you were trying to push through them would be able to do a better job of doing whatever you're doing. You know, wait times can become can become noticeable when you have a lot of commands and things are slow, or you're doing expensive commands like reading and writing from memory. So, with that said, you kind of end up in this interesting situation of when you're writing bad code, but you think that what you're optimizing for is something that is valuable, you might get a shock if you actually try and translate that into actual coding. Because actual coding, while there certainly is an emphasis on things running quickly and, you know, fewer lines, you don't want to use extraneous lines of code. But simplifying down to some of the arcane things that I've seen in the optimized solutions, leads to it is very hard to read code, which means that it's hard to modify later. And when it comes to actual code, being able to come back and read it and understand what it does so that you can change it, either to fix something that is going wrong with it or to improve it to make it do something else, you kind of need those things. And when you write really obscure algorithms, it does bad stuff. There are a couple situations in the modern day where those things are very important, mostly embedded systems that are not as powerful as your standard desktop or even laptop, or arguably even your cell phone, because your cell phone is probably really powerful compared to, I mean, depending on what you're comparing it to. Obviously not as powerful as an actual computer, but compared to the computers people had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, at 10 years ago is like definitely 100%. 5 years ago is probably close. Like, your smartphone is really smart, turns out. But like those sort of things, like, have their moments where they're relevant, but nowadays we're reaching less and less importance, especially when it comes to number of commands. Number of commands is almost entirely negligible, also because there are compilers which are breaking down everything that you're writing. Everything that you're writing that's human readable is being broken down by a compiler and is actually doing something completely different behind the scenes, and is already being optimized behind the scenes. So it's hard to write bad code in that regard. Speed, yes. Speed, there are definitely times where that's important, but number of instructions, short of being extraneous for extraneous' sake, like I'm going to declare 7 variables when I could do them in a different way, like those sort of things obviously are a bit much. But beyond some of those basic housekeeping things that make the code more readable and just not, you know, a shortened novella, it's not one of those things you've got to worry about. And to put the cap on this brief retrospective on this game, I'm looking at the nitpicks right now. I think that all of the things that are done in this game, all of the examples that they give, short of maybe one or two. Man, I'm yawning up a storm. It's because I'm thinking hard. Short of a couple, and honestly, I couldn't, like, none of them stick out. I'm sure there's just a couple that I would be like, yeah, this one wasn't really that helpful. But other than a couple, all of these are interesting problems and were actually kind of cool to use. Obviously, I have some qualms with the instructions as they are defined, but that is part of a puzzle, is working within the constraints that you are given. I still and forever will hate that a whole can be referenced and moved into appropriately, but an empty space cannot be referenced and moved into appropriately. Also, if you are storing a direction, you can store a person and a number, and then if those things separate, they can still be stored in. There's some weird stuff that can happen. But we really only ran into it once, and while it was super frustrating at the time, overall, the game is solidly put together. It is pretty darn robust. It does what you expect it to do. I don't think we've seen anything that explicitly looks like a bug, save for maybe that whole storing things in memory. And yeah, that one was just weird. I don't even remember the exact details of it because it was just kind of arcane. But yeah, I'm mostly nitpicking. Honestly, I enjoyed this game. I will admit that there are times I didn't really want to record an episode because I didn't want to have to think that hard. And I will admit that I'm glad that I now have an opportunity to move on, because 68 puzzles might be a little long, especially when you're optimizing all of them. But we're on episode 30-something, probably 40-something actually. I'm digging into backlog pretty heavily right now. But yeah, we're in that situation where we burned through these faster than one per. Otherwise, we'd be a lot further into our episode. So, considering that most of our episodes are between half an hour and 40 minutes, that means you're looking at a probably 30 to 40 hour game. Honestly, 20 to 40 hour game. That's pretty big variance, but somewhere along those lines. And that's if you optimize everything. I'm pretty certain that most people are going to spend 10 hours playing this game because they're going to just push through. And if they solve it, they solve it and they move on and they don't worry about optimizing, because you don't need to. There's nothing that requires you to do it unless you really want the achievements or you feel, like in my case, like it creates interesting content. So, I think that's going to be mostly what I say here. Good humor. Not great, but good humor. Interesting little story tagged along with some relatively interesting programming concepts that are definitely a sequel to the previous game. If you haven't played either of them, I would start at Human Resource Machine and not at 7 Billion Humans. And overall, I think it does a good job of exposing people to critical thinking. Because you got to think. This isn't going to be something that you can just, knock off like a Sudoku. Not to say that some of those really hard Sudokus aren't really hard, but your general run-of-the-mill, I got it in the newspaper Sudoku, going to require not quite as much brain power as most of these problems. So, I think that's where I'll leave it. I will say once again, thank you guys for watching 7 Billion Humans. I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did, and I hope you learned something. Because that's really what I think this game is designed, or at least aiming to do, is to teach you something. Even if it's a bunch of little small lessons and not one big one. So, I've enjoyed my time here. I have an idea of what's going to be showing up in this slot next week, though I don't know 100% for sure, because you never really do know. But I hope you'll enjoy that one as well, and we'll come back for more. So, I'll see you next time. And until then, keep your gears turning.